was 17, felt like yesterday, also felt like 1,000 years ago as well. I had a very powerful moment in my life that affects me to this day still. What happened was I was going through a very difficult time, and I was very confused and frustrated. I didn't know what to make sense of life and I guess adolescence, but I was going through a breakup with my first serious girlfriend at the time, and I decided to go visit her at her lake cottage in Northeast Ohio. So I got my car, red Pontiac Grand Am. I still remember it. And I proceeded to drive that direction to pay her a visit. I wasn't in the best mood. I think I was going to go cause some drama or something, but what happened was I was driving on these back roads next to the lake, and in Northeast Ohio, it's kind of suburbia, and there's just tons of neighborhoods and intersections and places that aren't really marked, some dirt roads, most other are paved. And I was coming up to an intersection, and I just turned on one of my heavy metal songs at that moment, which was Norma Jean. I used to hate cell phones, but now I hate car accidents. And as you can imagine, I got up to this intersection, and what had happened the night before was a big storm had blown through and twisted the stop signs to a point that where I glanced, and I made a terrible mistake, and I also made a miraculous choice at the same time. I put my seatbelt on. For some reason, I heard a voice or a nudge. I don't know what you want to call it. And I was like, oh, I'm not wearing my seatbelt. I'm gonna at least do that. So I put it on, and I get up to this intersection, and I just glanced. I thought it was a two-way stop. I looked to my left, I looked to my right, no cars, didn't care, went forward, and all of a sudden, I looked to my left, and there's a van coming at me, full speed, and it hit me so hard. I don't remember the impact. I remember just closing my eyes and drifting away into something so deep that it's hard to explain into words. So I created this as a visual so you guys could get a feel of what it's maybe like to go through this kind of experience. As I closed my eyes, when I went to open them again, I felt nothing but vibration and just this intense pulsating energy going through me. And I realized that I wasn't in my human body anymore. And what happened next was I went to put my hands up, like, you know those dreams you had where you go to do that and you realize you're dreaming? This felt a lot like that, but it felt more real than a dream. And when I opened them, this being of light appeared in front of me. And it felt like being next to a volcano while it's erupting, is how intense this space was that I was residing in. I realized at this moment that I was just a ball of consciousness, and that maybe this is where we all come from, is just pure energy. looking up at this being, and it starts beaming to me. Obviously not a language of words like I'm communicating to you right now, but just pure emotion, energy and motion. And as human beings, that's our main drive, is our emotion. And so there was this ancient, but almost beyond imagination, what we would call futuristic on this planet. This presence of so many different things at one time. And some of the things I took away from that moment were that to be human is to be man made of hues of light, pure light. And what it is to be a soul residing in a human body, a human avatar. So in this space, I began to have a back and forth question with myself, this being, and questions like, am I dead right now? Am I alive? Why does this feel more real than that? Just so many questions. All the questions you would ask right now if you were to all of a sudden just make that transition. So, after this, I'm not going to say how long it took because I don't believe there's such thing as time on this side. And after some time, I began to lose consciousness on that side and fade, and things got dark for a minute. And then as I went to open my eyes, I realized I was back in my body and I was being life-flighted. All I heard was this sound. And in this space, I was so overwhelmed that I had made it back to wherever we are right now that I immediately passed out. And the next time I woke up, I went into a deep sleep. I woke up in the hospital. The doctor walked in. I looked around. And it was the craziest thing. It was like being born again. I imagine as infants, this is what we first saw, was the walls were vibrating. And the doctor, his eyes, there were spirals of light. My family was in the room, my friends in the room, and just pure light coming out of everybody. And honestly, I just broke down in tears because first of all, I had made it back into my body, and second of all, how do you explain this to anybody when after some time of being here, we take this so serious on so many different levels, and we start to believe that this solidified life is like all there is, right? And I had this moment where I was like, wow, we are living in a miracle of just energy, animated, aware of itself, and dancing with itself. And we are the perfect embodiment of that. Anyway, the doctor walks in, he says, I can't believe I'm telling you this, I don't want to be so forward, but I looked at the photos of your car, and I'm not sure how you're alive. Your car is completely mangled, and apparently it had flipped 3 times and got smashed in between the van and the tree. Landed upside down, and they said the paramedics had found me 3 yards down, collapsed in the front of a neighbor's porch. And they weren't sure how I got there, since I did have my seatbelt on. And he said, "You have no cuts, no broken bones. You have a minor concussion. You're free to go home. Take as much time as you need." And I like freaked out. I still freak out about talking about this because I can't believe like that actually happened. And I'm fully intact, fully healthy right now as far as I know. And I think the takeaway from this is that we never are destroyed. We're never completely dead. We just make transitions. We go through a dance with life, and when we lose someone or we lose ourselves, we're just making a switch. And it's much like changing the knob on a radio, changing the frequency. You're changing stations. So I really want you guys to understand what I'm saying, and I have pure passion and love for life. I mess up and make mistakes all the time. I go through my own darkness, but I think it's really important to remember that the light, as far as I know, from my own experience, is not only internal, but it's aware of us and we're aware of it, and we are the same thing.